Hi there, my name is Andrea Jenson and I am with the Cash Flow CFO. And today I'm going to share with you some simple strategies to help you manage your cash flow in the midst of the coronavirus. All right, let's get started. Now, why is knowing your numbers and your cash flow so important? Well, it's always important, but especially now. You're going to be making some big decisions in your business in order to weather this economic storm. And I want to help you to be set up for success. Let me tell you why I'm here and why knowing your numbers is so important to me. Because I want every business owner to get through this unprecedented time in history on stable financial ground. I want your employees and contractors to be taken care of, and I want your business and cash flow to flourish and thrive. And in order to do that, you need to be managing cash flow in the midst of this coronavirus and this economic standstill that we find ourselves in. You need to get crystal clear on your numbers so that you can make confident decisions and manage your cash flow. Wouldn't you agree that it's hard to run your business when you don't know your numbers? What if more business owners realized the power and clarity they would have to make more money if they were clear on their numbers? What if every business owner knew there was an easier way to get the results that they wanted? Now is the time for you to get serious about your numbers. You need a solid foundation so that you are crystal clear on your numbers and your cash flow. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to discuss 3 simple strategies that are going to radically take your money confidence from the level that it's at now to a whole new normal that you've never experienced. When you learn about it, you're going to understand why it is so important to your business, and it's going to make you excited. Why this is important is because I think most business owners would rather not look at their numbers, which means they're not managing their cash flow. But what if you realize that once you got a handle on this skill, it would make everything else in your business so much easier? So how we're going to do this is we're going to talk about some simple money tools to manage your cash flow and a new way to measure and make decisions that you may not even be aware of. Now, what if you've already heard of some of this? What if you're already confident in your numbers and managing your cash flow? Well, that's great. And there'll probably be a tip or two that you can add to your toolkit to grow your business even more. So, 3 reasons why business owners are going to have a hard time during this coronavirus. Number 1, they aren't crystal clear on their numbers and cash flow. Number 2 reason is they don't have a solid financial reporting system in place. And number 3, they're not running their business based on metrics. So let's jump in to the 3 strategies on how to manage your cash flow. Strategy number 1, have a cash flow forecast. So start off by making a 14-day forecast that lists out all of the money coming in and all of the expenses you have going out. So you can use your accounting software to run a list. You can print out your general ledger and just look at your expenses and find the ones that are reoccurring and put them in a spreadsheet for you. And then also, if you don't have your accounting software set up, you can just print out your bank statements and go through with a highlighter. I like to tell my clients, get out a highlighter, get 3 different colors. So you have your green highlighter, that those are expenses that are, yes, necessary, and you're going to continue on with them. Your yellow are not quite sure what that expense is, so I'm going to highlight it and then do some research. And your pink highlighter are the expenses that you have deemed not necessary, especially in times like this. You'll want to trim back on anywhere you can. So, for example, if you have subscriptions that you have never really used for software or things like that, this is a good time to cut back on those. So in my 10 years of working with businesses, I can tell you that every successful business has a cash flow forecast. It helps so that you can manage your business decisions better. So what this would look like is creating a list of all of the cash coming in, and you can split this up into two different periods. So your first section of the month, your first half, April 1st through April 15th, for example, and then the second one would be April 16th through the end of the month. So you want to list out all the cash coming in and total it, and all of the cash going out and total it. And then what you can do is create a summary sheet. So you'll list the first half of the month cash requirements, the second half of the month cash requirements, and total that up. Then look at what your current cash balances are. What cash do you have on hand to meet the cash requirements going out? And then you can look at what you have coming in against that. There might be times where you need to put money on a credit card or put expenses on a credit card or pull down from your line of credit. So this is going to give you a good visibility into where there might be dips or holes in your cash flow so that you can be proactive instead of reactive. Okay, so now we've created a visual representation of the money coming in and the money coming out of the business. But how do we manage and influence the amount of money coming into the business? And how do we direct more of our energy and focus into bringing money in? So the second strategy we're going to cover today is understanding the cash flow funnel. How many of you wish that there was a simpler way to understand your numbers so you could easily make financial decisions and more money? Well, good news, there is. So one of the things that I didn't realize back in my corporate life is that whether I was working for the venture capital firm or publicly traded oil and gas company, or even when I was working for Starwood Hotels and Resorts, they were all completely different businesses and industries, but they all had the same thing in common. They managed their business from metrics, and they understood the cash flow funnel. So when I started working with small businesses, I immediately realized that this was something of huge value that I could give business owners and entrepreneurs to add to their toolkits of how they manage their cash flow and ultimately how they grow their business. So let me give you an example. We all know about Disneyland, right? Well, at Disneyland, they're genius because they have something there called Fast Pass. So it's pretty amazing how some people you can watch and see. Some people will go and they'll stand in line and wait, where there's others who like the faster version. They don't want to wait in line, so they get the Fast Pass. How many of you, if there was an option to manage your cash flow quicker and easier, which would you choose? How many of you would love to have the Fast Pass? Well, using metrics and KPIs to manage your cash flow is just that. Look, listen, the biggest reason that business owners don't use metrics to manage their business is because they don't know how simple it can be. They don't know how easy it can be to manage their cash flow using metrics. So let's jump in. I'm excited to show you, and drum roll please, here is the cash flow funnel. So the cash flow funnel has 5 main categories of metrics to track and manage in your business. We have leads, conversions, sales, expenses, and profit. And what's really cool about these 5 categories is that each one is dependent on the other. So you can't have sales without leads, and you wouldn't have profit without sales. And having a visual like this makes it much easier to see how the cash flows into and through your company, and how as the business owner can pay yourself more when your business is set up this way. So by looking at your cash flow in each of these 5 categories, you'll be able to see what's working in your business and what areas you will need to focus your energy on to make improvements and get the cash flowing. What do you think the quickest way to track and see if your cash flow funnel is working right? Well, it's key performance indicators, or KPIs. So a KPI is a quantifiable measure used to evaluate the success of an organization in meeting objectives for performance. A bit of a mouthful, but the simple way to look at it is it's a way to make sure that you're managing your cash flow and the activities that directly influence your cash flow. So let's start with the first category of the cash flow funnel, which is leads. So leads are super important because it's leads that feed your cash flow funnel. We all know what a lead is. It's your pipeline of potential revenue. And it's your job as the business owner to make sure that you have enough leads to convert to sales in order for you to hit your revenue goals. It's managing the cash flow into your business. So, what are some of the activities that you can spend your money on to bring in leads? Well, paying for ads is a way to increase your email list. So you can email them more often and make offers. You can pay a marketing team to craft those emails to your list to move them into a sales conversation. But how will you know if they are effective? Well, you can track your email open rate, you can track your click-through rate, and all of these activities will be how you get leads into your pipeline of clients that you'll offer your products and services to. So here are some of the KPIs to track for your lead generation activities. And this will help to ensure that you're bringing in enough leads to close so that you hit your sales goals. Now, leads are great to have in your business, but you still have to convert them into sales. So the second category to monitor in your cash flow funnel is your sales conversion rate. The sales conversion rate is the calculation of the rate you turn a lead into a sale. Why does this matter? Because you can have all the leads in the world, but if you can't convert them into a sale, your business is going to be in trouble. If you offer more than one product or service, you're going to want to have different sales conversion rates for each of the different products or services that you offer. And you should track them individually. The first thing you need to do is to determine how many leads do you need in your business to hit your sales goals. So let's take a look at a workbook that we've created for our clients to use to determine their leads, sales, and revenue goals. Okay, so this is a worksheet that we use, and we have it broken up into different sections. So the first section we see here is the month that we're working with our clients on. So in this example, let's say for your business, your total monthly revenue goal is $350,000. And for this example, we're going to say that you already have $75,000 in recurring revenue on the books. So the new revenue that you need to generate in the month of April, for example, is $275,000. Okay, that's great. So now we know what our sales goal is. So how many of our products or services do we need to sell in order to hit that goal? So we come down to the sales matrix section here, and we can see that our service sells for $17,500, and we know what our sales goal is for the month. The new revenue that we need to generate is $275,000. So do the math. You need to sell 16 of your services. So then we plug in what our lead conversion rate is, our sales conversion rate, and that will tell us that we need 79 leads in order to generate $275,000. Pretty simple so far, right? The beauty of this is we're letting the spreadsheet do all the calculations for us. And just by plugging in a few different variables, we're able to get the info that we need. Okay, so now we know that we need 79 leads. Then we decide, okay, so what are the activities that we're going to do throughout the month to generate leads? And so here we can list out the different types of lead sources, the activities that we're going to do, and what the goal is to achieve that number of leads. Okay, so now that we have that part figured out, then we can come back and look at what are the KPIs that we want to track to make sure that we are hitting our sales goal. So some of those are your sales conversations. So how many of your cold leads turn into a warm lead, which is a sales conversation? How many sales by product or service did you have for the month? And what was the conversion rate by product or service? And one of the other KPIs that's super, super important to track is the top 3 pain points from your sales conversations. So if you're hearing the same thing over and over again, you're going to want to take that data and feed it back up into your marketing team up at the leads part of your cash flow funnel and tell them, hey, this is what our people are saying are their pain points. So let's make sure we address that in our marketing. Also, one of the other metrics that's really important to track is what are the top 3 reasons people didn't buy? Again, you'll want to take that and talk through that in your marketing so that you're answering those objections to increase your sales conversion rate. So see how everything is intertwined? All right, so let's keep moving. So now that we have the first 3 sections of our cash flow funnel completed, the next thing to do is to create a proper spending allocation. So I like to use a simple way of looking at spending categories. They are cost of goods sold or cost of revenue if you're a service business, general and administrative, marketing, and profit. So let's look at each one individually. So cost of goods sold is if you are selling a product, and that is going to be the cost of the direct costs of producing that good. So that would be buying the materials, the direct labor that's used to create the goods. And if you're a service-based business, you're going to use cost of revenue. And cost of revenue is all of the expenses that go into delivering that service based on the sale. The other category you're going to want to track is general and administrative. So these are also referred to as operating costs, overhead, if you will. So some examples of G&A expenses include rent, utilities, insurance, legal fees, certain salaries, and anything. I kind of look at it and I tell my clients, anything that is not a cost of goods sold, because that's an easy determination to make, and anything that is not profit is going to be a general and administrative, oh, I'm sorry, is not marketing, is going to be a general and administrative expense. So the next category is marketing. And marketing is all of the expenses pretty much directly related to acquiring a new customer. So advertising spending, website, graphic design, marketing team. By segregating these marketing expenses separate from general and administrative, it makes it really easy to figure out your customer acquisition cost. So looking at how much did you spend over the period to acquire customers, and how many new customers did you acquire? So that will help you calculate your customer acquisition cost. Okay, so the remaining bucket is the profit bucket. And the profit bucket is further split out into reserve amount that you're going to set aside for taxes, owner's distributions, debt repayment if the business owes money, and also reinvestments back into the business. So if you're going to invest in a new product or service that you're testing out, you'll be using some of the funds that come out of the profit bucket. So here is a general allocation of how every dollar that comes into your business from sales should be allocated. And keep in mind, this is just a very general ratio here, but each business will have specific numbers that are based on the industry that they're in. So one of the cool things that we have is a cash flow spending allocation calculator. And again, this is something that we created for our clients to use in their business. So let's say, for example, using our $350,000 monthly sales goal and using our standard percentages here. These are off a little bit from our other examples, so let me match them up. All right, perfect. You can see that we've got 100% here. So this tells us what your budget should be for each of these spending categories. So you can also see that you've always got 100% to divvy up into the different categories. So if, for example, what's kind of cool is you can come in here and say, oh, I was able to lower my general and administrative expenses to 25%. And that means that my profit also changed, because you still always have that same 100%, and it really just depends on the allocations based on your business and the life cycle, like where you're at in your business, and especially, you know, if you're paying down debt or other things like that. So let's look at, we've already talked about the metrics for our cash flow funnel, lead generations, and conversion and sales. So let's see what that looks like when we plug it into our management dashboard. So here is an example of how you as a business owner would be using metrics to manage your business. So you can see over here, we have our lead generation KPIs, and then we have our sales and revenue KPIs. So here is a sample looking at, okay, this business, for example, has an email list of 3,000 people. One of the metrics we want to track is that increasing or decreasing? Prior month, it's up 39%. Awesome. That KPI is telling me that what's happening in the marketing team is working. Then we look at the number of emails sent. We can see what our total open rate is and what our total leads are. Then we can go drill down even further and say, what's the click-through rate? What were the total clicks? And then over here, we're tracking, looks like webinar registration. So how much did we spend in ads to drive registrations to our webinar? And what was that per registration cost? So you can see here, total leads generated for this month was 151. And based on our goal over here of 79, we're doing pretty good. Okay, so then we have total sales calls. We're tracking those. So how many of these leads turned into an actual sales conversation? And we can see what the percent increase, decrease was over the prior month. It was up 9%. So it's steadily going the right direction. Total number of sales were 22. And then here's the section to fill out what your top 3 client pain points were and your top 3 no-buy reasons. Okay, so that's the example we looked at. Using the example of 350,000 in monthly sales, we can see as we move along in our management dashboard here that we've got total revenue, 385,000. And this is looking at the percent of budget versus actual for each of these different spending buckets. And then this is measuring the actual dollars. And so here you can see the variances from what we budgeted to what actually happened. And this is going to help you, make decisions and manage the business better. So you might say, oh gosh, why was my cost of goods higher? You do a little digging and you find out that, oh, one of your products that you bought to make the product that you sell was higher this month. And so that's what that difference is. But having all of these metrics right in front of you is so much easier than having to, dig through financial statements and try and decipher, your balance sheet and cash flow statement and pull this information out. So it's super useful to have your financial team prepare this for you. Okay. So moving along, we are... How would using metrics in your business help make business decisions easier for you? I showed you a few examples looking at this dashboard here. Wouldn't this be great to have something like this in your business? You can absolutely create this and use it as a management tool. Every month, you and your team, you review this information and you use it to make decisions going forward. Okay, so moving on to our third and final strategy to manage your cash flow. Don't do your own accounting. Hire a professional. So many business owners decide that they're going to save some money and do it themselves. It's probably one of the first things you should do, not probably, one of the first things you should do, your first hire should be to bring on an experienced bookkeeper in your business. As your business is growing, 3% of your revenue you want to allocate to your financial team. So as your revenue grows, then you're going to want to keep bringing on higher level team to support you in your growth and to help you make the analysis that you need to do to make big decisions on how to spend your money the best way possible in your business. So you wouldn't have a mechanic draw up a legal agreement for you. So don't have somebody who's not trained in accounting. You want to make sure they have an accounting degree, 3 to 5 years of experience. And as your business gets up into the million plus, you want to make sure that you have somebody that can support you in that higher level analysis, like a CFO. It doesn't have to be full-time. There's a lot of options out there for you. You can do fractional, and it will pay for itself in spades. I guarantee it. So, all right, in conclusion, these are the 3 simple strategies to manage your cash flow. And I never want you to have to worry about your money again. So these are some solutions to help take that worry and fear away and to give you peace and allow you to make intelligent decisions and bring back the fun in your business. Because once you have this foundation in place, you'll see that it's just kind of knob twiddling and pulling levers and things like that to get to where your goals are. So it's not such like a daunting thing for you to do. All right. So that is the end of my presentation, and I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity to connect with you and share what I love and how, my number nerdiness comes through. and I get to support my clients and do this really fun stuff. So if you would like a copy of my slides or any of the financial calculators that I showed in the Google workbooks that we use with our clients, I'm happy to share those with you. So just shoot me an email, Andrea at the Cashflow CFO, and I can send that your way. And you can also shoot me a text. My phone number is listed here. And thank you again for your time today. And I hope that you got some good value out of all of this information. Thank you.